Among the cliffs of Mount Parnassus, the smoke of Delphi never faded. There sat the Pythia, the voice of Apollo on earth, and a prisoner of fate. Tonight, by the soft firelight, let us step into her mist-shrouded life. On this easy journey through memory, may you hear ancient whispers and drift into peace. She needed no weapons, yet with a single ambiguous phrase, she could tear mighty city-states apart. The Pythia, oracle of Delphi, struggled her whole life between the divine and the human. This is no mere tale of mysticism, but a meditation on prophecy and loneliness. Close your eyes, and walk with me toward stillness in the winds of Mount Parnassus. If seeing the future is a gift, the Pythia was perhaps history's unhappiest soul. She sank into the scent of laurel, burning out her mortal warmth in chaotic visions. Tonight we speak not of war or glory, but of the quiet years stolen from the Pythia by divine words. This is a bedtime letter from 3,000 years ago, may it gently smooth your thoughts. High on the slopes of Greece's rugged Mount Parnassus lies a place the ancients called the navel of the earth. From a deep, bottomless chasm rose strange, mind-altering fumes that drifted year after year. A woman sat upon a golden tripod, trembling violently in the haze, uttering broken syllables that decided the fate of kings and the rise and fall of empires. She was the Pythia, Delphi's most famous enigma, the uneasy mouthpiece of fate. Tonight, by the softly flickering fire, let us enter her real life through a story you need not strain to remember. Some called her a divine medium, others saw only a poor peasant girl controlled by hallucinatory gases. But when night fell, and the souls shaped by prophecy had long vanished, her breath still seemed to echo through the empty valleys. The Pythia was never one single name, but a heavy title passed down for 1,000 years. The earliest Pythia may have been an ordinary village girl from near Delphi, with clear eyes and simple wonder toward the unknown. Then one day the temple priests chose her, violently cutting all her ties to the mortal world. She was taken into the sacred precinct, forced to abandon her name, her family, even her youth and feminine identity. She had to remain pure her entire life, dressed in white like a maiden, yet fade quickly in loneliness, a living offering to Apollo. This split in her being was the first wound of the Pythia's fate. She gained the power to see the future, yet lost all right to the present. In the Ataton, the cold, damp inner sanctum, she learned to live with the mysterious vapors, her only companion for the rest of her days. At the start of September, or on the 7th day of each month, the Pythia underwent the ritual that held the world breathless. Before the ceremony, she bathed in the Castalian spring, its water icy to the bone, as if washing away the last traces of mortal warmth. She then entered the grand, suffocating temple of Apollo, and in the dark inner chamber, climbed the tall golden tripod. Beneath her, ethylene-rich gases rose from the earth's crack, wrapping around her until her consciousness blurred, and the world dissolved and rearranged itself. She chewed laurel leaves, their bitter juice spreading on her tongue, while torchlight twisted across the stone walls like monstrous dragons. Suppliants waited trembling in the hall outside, bringing gold and treasure, all for a single murmur from her lips. But the Pythia herself hovered between divine ecstasy and mortal agony, her soul torn open to become a vessel for something unnameable. The prophecies the Pythia spoke were always ambiguous, laced with fatal temptation and trap. Her most famous victim was King Croesus of Lydia, who asked if he should attack Persia. The Pythia replied, "If you cross the river, you will destroy a great empire." Croesus marched forth in joy, only to destroy his own realm. For the Pythia, this wordplay was never intentional. In her trance, fate simply appeared as something multi-layered and chaotic. She saw the future not as a straight line of cause and effect, but a broken ocean, each wave rolling toward a different end. She had to weave these fragments into ancient, obscure verse, yet greedy mortals always chose only the parts they wished to hear. Amid Delphi's smoke, the Pythia watched countless eager nobles march to ruin under the curse of prophecy, and could only sit silent as tragedy repeated itself. Over centuries, the Pythia was more than a religious symbol, she was the center of a political whirlwind. Athenian generals, Spartan kings, even barbarian leaders from distant lands sought her guidance before war. This meant the priestly circle behind the Pythia effectively held the balance of power across the Mediterranean. Again and again, the Pythia tried to resist being used as a tool, but under the weight of theocracy and politics, she remained a bird in a cage. She saw Athenians weep in despair as Persian armies approached, begging for a sign of survival. She saw ambitious men like Caesar attempt to bully or bribe her into changing the oracle. This tug-of-war of power exhausted her. In her visions, she saw the temple fall, and the twilight of the Greek gods. On quiet nights, alone in her stone cell within the sanctuary, she listened to the winds of Mount Parnassus, and the despair of being powerless to change fate cut deeper than any poison. As Rome rose and Christianity spread, Delphi's smoke thinned, and the Pythia's stature crumbled. The last Pythia spoke her final prophecy amid the ruins: "Tell the king the glorious hall has fallen, and Apollo no longer has a home." It was a farewell spanning 1,000 years. The Pythia could finally step down from her tormenting tripod, only to find she had nowhere to go. She had grown so used to being the shadow of a god that when the divine left, her own existence turned faint and transparent. She wandered among overgrown stone columns, watching once busy streets turn empty, the secrets of the future dying unspoken within her. No longer a revered saint, she became a murmuring old woman haunting the valleys, waiting for her last mortal warmth to fade into time. This was perhaps the only mercy in her long life. When the oracles ended, she at last gained a silence as deep as death, entirely her own. Today only a few lonely broken columns remain of the Temple of Delphi, and the earth's chasm is sealed with mud. The truth of the Pythia vanished with the smoke, an eternal mystery deep in history. We can never know exactly what she saw in her trances, nor fully feel the cold and loneliness upon that golden seat. But perhaps the Pythia's story teaches us, fate lies not in distant prophecies, but in the small, living choices of each present moment. The story ends tonight. The winds of Delphi have calmed, and the figure of the Pythia has melted into the dark. May your dreams hold no heavy prophecies, only the soft scent of laurel and deep, untroubled sleep. Rest now. May this night be kind to you, and your dreams gentle.